Bunion in right big toe with pain. Is this diagnosis?
No,
right side abdominal pain?
There's some chronic pain in this area here.
Okay. And low blood sugar overnight. Okay.
Since having hepatitis.
Okay. He had tonsillectomy at age 3. He had malaria and dysentery in his 20s and hepatitis. Of which one? B? A?
They didn't give numbers on B.
They didn't give numbers.
But I test positive for A, B, and C.
Oh, all 3 might as well. And then can you explain the thing about the bladder? Because that's very interesting.
I didn't discover this till I was like in my early 40s, but I had trouble urinating. But it turns out I was born with a defective valve from my bladder to my urethra. And most children die from that, but I didn't. So what happened was when I thought it was like prostate, but I couldn't urinate well. I mean, I had to push out the urine manually. So finally I went to the doctor and they went through all these tests and they found that the pressure, the back pressure, formed a second bladder. That separate one that wrapped around the left ureter was choking that off. So they had to like cut that.
Wrapped around the left ureter?
That was the left.
How do you have left and right ureter?
Not urethra, ureter.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then they have to restrict that, to cut that out, and then build a new, like a valve type thing, like to the urethra. So ever since then, I have so I don't think I have the strongest bladder. I definitely have to wake up at night a couple times, and since then I have retrograde. I forget the word. Ejaculation. I mean, I don't ejaculate, I injaculate. It's a byproduct of that surgery. Gotcha. Yeah, I never heard of that either.
The Taoists will love you.
Yeah. You're going to live forever.
He's enlightened.
You live forever.
So the body just reabsorbs it?
Yeah.
Wow,
That's awesome.
You've got a fan club. Tell us about the digestive issues, the joint pain.
So once again, it's part of the digestive. I've had some history of reflux. Then it goes away and it's fine and things like this. But I've had this pain in here off and on, and more so in the last year. But then it goes away. It's not there. I've had a colonoscopy and they don't find anything at all. It could be related to structure and psoas and things
so the
like
clear
that.
digestive things you used to have part of.
I still do. Lately I've been having more of it.
Okay.
So I'll talk about the present in a minute as I go through this, okay? I have arthritis in the big toe and like a bunion and maybe some spurring. I'm going to get x-rayed on Tuesday. And that can hurt a lot. But I think a lot of it came from years of downward versus upward. You know, you're putting your weight forward and onto the ball of the foot. So that can be really quite painful. I'll get joint pain and stiffness, and lately, so a month ago, I've been working out with a trainer really hard, and all of a sudden I strained something. And I started going into a real weird down cycle with muscle spasms in here, in here, pain into the groin, the whole thing acted up, the reflux acted up, pain back in here, and shoulder pain. I mean, crazy stuff, you know. And then it kind of moves around, like right now, I don't have as much pain here. Now I'm beginning to go over here, into the piriformis, I have to really stretch out, you know.
And some tightness right now.
Yeah, mostly that, but I have tightness, but spasms like last night, it started to put a cramp up into here, and then I fought it off. But in November, I was at a chiropractic seminar in Denver, and this thing cramped up, and it just pulled the muscles in here. I got all black and blue and crazy. So a lot of spasming, you know, and this could be spasming too. And so sometimes, depending on what I eat, I'll get like sometimes stiff muscles, stiff joints, stiff, and also since I have hepatitis, I tend to get low blood sugar overnight, where I have to like have a little tea, a sip of juice or something, once or twice to get through the night.
Ah,
Which is,
See,
I mean,
wait.
I'm used to it at this point,
Yeah.
but
but yeah.
it's not, I almost forgot I had a problem, but those are the major. I got really sick 25 years ago on my honeymoon in Turkey. I got some kind of bug wherein I had severe nausea and weird stuff and throwing up. But then I also got these little cystic sores inside my nose and my ears. And ever since then, I've had some eczema on my head, my scalp. Right now, it's not like that, but it was really not so good. And I got malaria, as I told you.
When did the heartburn start in your life?
I imagine a long time ago. I can't really say.
Child?
I remember I would get stomach aches when I was a child. But I don't remember heartburn.
Let's take your socks off and have you lie down and face up.
And when I'm like laying still sleeping overnight, that's when I would tend to
At night.
well, during the day, but worse at night without movement, you know. So like in the morning, I have to do a whole exercise thing to stretch these things out. So I could hardly.
Yeah.
So I think, what are you thinking already?
What are you thinking already?
Yeah.
I'm trying not to think. No, okay. What I'm thinking already is his first injury is okay. Wait. He had Mama and Papa also something. So so let me. Father had, what is that word?
Kidney failure.
Kidney failure, and mother had adrenal gland cancer. Okay. So you can say that right away he has.
And she had terrible blood sugar problems symptomatically.
Gotcha. So, but my main thing, okay, so there are two things that I'm thinking about right now. I'm thinking, he's talking about a bunion on the right side, but it's painful, but it's actually, it's almost more like here.
But the pain is mostly...
Okay, but most people who have bunions would normally stick out a lot more, okay? But I'm thinking something to do with, not so much spleen in the sense that you would think about it, but more in terms of the fascia, because he talks a lot about the intestines, the stomach. So it's something to do with, and he has another sac that went berserk. Okay, so he has his capacity, the tissue that expands and contracts. By the way, the bladder and the stomach are the same tissue. Okay, the stomach is the sacs, the actual sacs in the body are called rugae. Okay, so it's tissue that comes like this, slides on top of each other. Okay, that's how they expand. The intestine is not. Okay, the intestine is more, the intestine and the lungs are the same. But his ability to expand and contract may not. So how do I translate that now to Chinese? I don't know. So that's why, it's a little early for. Now the other thing is the very first insult on him. He has a bunch of immune insults. Tonsillectomy. He was on his honeymoon and got this weird bug. He had malaria. So he has a bunch of now. So the lymph and the intestines are highly correlated also. Okay, because a lot of the lymphs are in the intestines. So I'm going to look at his intestines in all likelihood, but I don't know yet. Okay, so just okay. Joint pain right now. What is there a joint that's painful? Because that's always nice.
It's achy right into here. My mushu is sore.
Okay. Here.
Right there.
Here.
A little bit. Right there.
Okay. So I just need things that I can say. Okay, that's painful. Okay. So that's painful. How about on this side? Anything? By the way, this is behind the trochanter, so it's not mushu because mushu is here. Okay. But that's okay.
Mushu is sore too.
Okay. Mushu is sore also, but behind the trochanter, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And how's your bunion bone? Spleen 2 pain?
That's what spleen 2 is where the extreme pain happens.
Okay, so
but it's not. If you might have to press harder.
No, I can't press harder because then anybody will scream. Oh, no. Any pain?
Not much.
Not much. Okay. How about here?
Yeah, right there.
This one or this one?
That one. That's the worst.
That's the one. Okay. All right. So I got. So I got some ways to look at symptoms. Adam, what was the question?
I'm curious at the very beginning why you think it's more spleen, large intestine, and not kidney and bladder stuff. Because
It could be. I don't know yet.
This
I don't
defect
know.
and it's all the history. So
I didn't say no. I just said that. She asked me, what am I thinking? I just answered. I can't say why I'm thinking. You know, the mind does what it wants. You know, I mean, for all you know, I'm looking and going, why so many red dots? Well, he's got a liver. Now I'm just going to say, well, maybe he's liver. You know, it's like the mind will go where it goes. Now you have to rein it in. I mean, the trick is let the mind go. And then, no, I'm serious.
No, I'm laughing.
Let the mind keep going and then rein it in and narrow. So what I'm thinking, I could be thinking, why is the hair this length instead of this length? You know, it's like, who cares what I'm thinking? You know, but she wanted to know, so I said. You know, it's like, it's not so important. Okay. The other thing is, I told you, I'm always interested in feet, so.
It hurts into the sacrum now, too.
You have pain in the sacrum. Okay. Here?
A little bit there, but, you know, it's a wide area.
Okay, so I can find here. How about here? Here? Here?
Not feeling much there, right? There's
Okay,
another-
so-
there's
okay,
a
that's
sense
good.
of a tightness down there.
Okay, but this one you feel.
Right, push again. A little bit, not strong.
Alright.
Big
So-
toes are easiest.
Okay, okay. Now, the other thing is, look, he totally flops inwards. Okay, so yes, and relax. Relax. Okay. No. Foot's a little stiff, but not horrible. And his toes are cramped together. So what I need to do is I need to find out, no, and I can't, if I spread them, you can do it too. There's resistance. If I try and spread his toe. So, do you tend to get depressed?
Sometimes. Just sometimes when I lose motivation.
You lose
It
motivation.
might happen for a month or two, a month or so, and then it goes away.
People whose toes are like this have a greater tendency towards either headache, there's not enough oxygen in the brain.
I have a history of recurrent suboccipital headaches on the right side. Forgot about that, because I don't get it too often.
Okay. All right.
But I do get it.
Okay, so
Your
we
toes are
have,
tight?
do you see how his toes are kind of like, they're squished together? Some people's toes will look like they're squished together, but when you try and separate them, they feel elastic. His don't. His feel bony. That's why I don't just look, I also try and actually separate. Okay, so, relax. So digestion, the right side inguinal right now is not active?
It's sore in here.
Okay, that's not the inguinal.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay, no.
This pain in here?
Yeah, is there? Because you mentioned that.
If you
But
press
it's more
on
the
it,
inner
if you
side.
press on it, you're gonna feel pain.
Okay, relax, don't press.
I don't feel it lying here now.
Okay. So,
Yeah,
yeah, so inguinal pain, how about this side? No.
yes, right there.
This one here,
Yeah.
and this, and this. Well, he had a bladder operation, it's quite likely that he would have that. But he's talking about this,
It's all very tight and sore. Yeah.
tight, okay, but when I press, okay, wait. Okay, so this is the kind of person like, excuse me, now do you still have it?
It's
Because,
sore right there.
okay, when I press, is it sore?
Yes.
So you have a feeling in general that it's tight, but when I press, it's sore? Or
Yes.
produces something, okay.
Yeah,
Now, liver 12, here also?
a little bit.
A little bit. How about here?
More.
More, okay. So, 1, not so much, and here, right?
One was, yeah. But one.
This is the worst.
Yeah.
Okay. Liver 12 is called the hasty pulse, Jimai. Okay? It's part of this whole structure when we do this or this, how we shift the tailbone is going to affect also the inner thigh. The tailbone is going to, and the inner thigh together actually, control the state of your nervous system. So notice that the ancients said, look, if you stand like this, which you love to do, except if you stand and then you will get out of it, okay? But if you stand like this, you're going to feel like stuck. If you stand like this, you're going to feel like you're going to run after something, okay? So which way your tailbone shifts is going to have a huge effect on your nervous system, okay? And the tightness in the front of the thigh is also going to dictate the nervous system. Notice he's a little bit kind of like, he's a little bit of a nervous system type. So he doesn't cooperate that easily. It's okay. So, all right, now let's check the abdomen. Okay. So, anything here? Okay, because he has intestinal problems, so it's unfair. So, okay, so he already has left spleen 13, 14. Okay. How about, so he doesn't know what my fingers feel like without anything, so too bad. How about oketsu?
A little bit.
A little bit. How about,
Yeah,
yes, right side, okay. How about adrenal? Other side adrenal?
A little bit.
Okay. How about Ren 9? By the way, one of the best indications of Mushu is if you feel the pulse in Ren 9, he doesn't have it. Okay. 12?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Okay. 15.
A little bit.
A little bit. So a little bit 15, a little bit on 12.
More than 12.
Okay. A little bit on the right side adrenal, a fair amount here. Some here, some here. Now, the bladder itself. Oh, I see, that's the, okay, let's check the scar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
One, mostly a little 5.
1 and 5, yeah?
Mostly 1.
Mostly 1, okay. All right. And any discomfort on kidney 2?
Yes.
Yes, kidney 2?
Not so much on that side.
Okay, so that kind of could be dictated to me with what I use on the side in terms of kidney, because if he has kidney 2 pain, I'm much less likely to do anything except 7 or 10. Okay. And any other joint that you have? Right occipital, oh, no, relax, I can, anything?
Right now.
Okay. Now, he had malaria, which means his spleen has been damaged. Okay, so I can't do this business of comparing left and right. Okay, because I don't know what's going to happen on the left. Any discomfort?
A little bit.
A little bit. Which one? 1,
1.
2, 3.
1.
1. Okay. How about liver side? 1, 2, 3. No. How about here?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. And you said anything on the right?
Yes, the first one.
This one.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is that?
GB, outside GB20. He said he gets, when I talked about the feet, he says he gets headaches there. Okay. When I press on the liver, sorry. Oh, this was, you had pain here, right?
Mhm.
Okay, sorry, I won't do that. Actually, I will just for a second, just to ascertain if there's a connection. How's the occiput?
I think better.
You think better?
Yeah.
Can somebody add the third toe? Okay. Because he's had hepatitis, I can't ignore it. Okay. Plus, he shows all these red spots, which is undigested estrogen, which is the liver's responsibility. Okay, so one of the things, I do think much more Western than Chinese. So it's kind of problematic. So, all right. So you said here, right?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to start, even though he didn't have kidney pain on this side, because he had hepatitis, he had clear damage in the kidney. Our treatment for that is right side, kidney 7, spleen 7, heart 3, pericardium 4. Remind me to explain to you what
Press
that comes from.
the kidney 2 again, because I felt so.
Can you pray? Hi, how's pre-kidney 2?
I'm not at that.
Okay. It's okay.
Were you pushing liver too?
No, come on. I'm on the bunion here. Right? Right? Okay. So, kidney 2. How's bunion?
Press it for a couple of different points, because you weren't on the exact point that
Okay,
time.
wait. Okay. Once I find it, you let me know. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, 3.
3. Okay.
Right.
I'm not moving from 3. Height.
It's a little better, yes.
How much is a little?
Maybe 50%.
50%. Okay, fine. Hold on. Now,
Much better.
much better, okay. Just for the sake of,
Is that kidney 9?
no, that was spleen 7. I'm checking kidney 7, spleen 7, heart 3, pericardium 4. Between this, you can say there's some connection. There's no connection whatsoever between pericardium 4. Okay, so here, right, Brian?
Right there.
Okay, good. How's right there?
50% better.
Okay, so to me, he confirmed the possibility of the liver. Now, the next thing I need to do is make sure that it's going to do other things. So you have here, okay,
Liver access?
he had hepatitis. He has liver damage. He has actual physical liver damage. It's not a theory here. Okay. Hi, how's your inguinal?
Yeah, 80% better.
Okay. How is this guy?
Better.
Okay. How is, excuse me, I'm not going to press it. Okay. It's here, right? Okay. How's now?
Much better.
Much better. Okay. Now.
Probably
we'll-
gone.
Hmm?
Probably gone.
Okay. Do you remember I told you I think original problem is immunity and the kind of tissue and lymph? Okay. Liver is not a lymph tissue, but what is liver called in Chinese? Gun. What does it mean? It means a shield. Okay? So liver relates to immunity just as much as lungs. Okay? They're you know, so also if you're looking, where does the Wei Qi flow? In the skin and in the, you know, you can say in the, not exactly in the tendons, but it relates to the liver, to the level of the liver. I mean, the liver also has a blood level. Okay? The liver itself contains blood, but the tissue that it's responsible for is where the Wei Qi flows. Okay, next. So kidney 7, spleen 7, 4. You had here, right? How's now? Much better?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you also had behind the trochanter here?
Right there.
Yeah. Okay. Boom. How's now?
Much better.
Much better. Okay. So it seems like I need to do spleen excess, liver excess treatment. Okay. So that's the idea. Okay. But there's more options. Yeah.
So even without a lot of soreness, you still have liver excess here because of the damage.
You have a history of hepatitis. Therefore, what's the problem? Hold on. Okay. First of all, you have pain here, and you're not saying dull pain, right?
It was dull.
It was dull, okay. But the problem is you had a history of physical liver damage,
Right.
okay? For me, physical damage means liver excess. This treatment, kidney 7, spleen 7, heart 3, pericardium 4, is Nagano's treatment originally for atomic bomb victims. Okay, the radiation that damaged their liver. Okay, so this is what we use when we're clear that there's physical liver damage, as opposed to some excess you press and they say ouch. Okay. Now the other thing you also had here though, right? Okay, so I need to also look at his spleen. Okay. It's here, right? Okay, and you also have here, correct?
Yes.
How's spleen?
Better.
By how much?
I don't feel anything.
Don't feel anything, okay? And how is Google?
Much better.
Much better. So this is we call malaria point. If you say that to Kiiko, she'll ask you, what? But trust me, this was malaria point originally, okay? I go to do 20 and I take it to the side between the bladder and the gallbladder channels on the skull, okay? And you find a dent. And when you press that, that's Nagano's malaria treatment point. And we transferred it to the right side to treat liver also. Okay? So sometimes you go now kind of like, what malaria point? But it is originally called malaria point. Now the other thing is, I'm going to check spleen metal water because he has a whole bunch of lymph issues. Okay? So he's not a Mushu person for today, it appears. Any pain on spleen spleen too.
Yes.
Yes, but this one he doesn't have on spleen too, but he has on the spleen channel. So, now, he is not the best candidate. He has enough to go in here for spleen 9. Not my favorite. My favorite is chubby women. Lots of space to get the needle in. No, it's not a drag. It's close to the bone. It's not pleasant, okay? But I still want to test how's
Fine.
fine. Okay. Now, I know by dogma, this side, spleen 9 should do a good job. Is that correct? Okay. So, what now? But I have a problem between, I can't do spleen 5 and 9 and 7. Okay, it's too much. I'm going to drop one of them, which will probably be the spleen 5, at least on the right side. Okay? And let's just check, because we know that I think he's autonomic nervous system. So 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. 3?
Freeze works.
But 2
Little
also.
two, yeah.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
More so on the right side.
More so, okay, because of liver, that makes sense. How about you scalings? 1, 2, 3.
Just a little bit.
Which one?
Try it again.
All 3? 1, 2, 3.
1 and 3. Mostly 1. Right there,
Okay.
for sure. 1.
And 1, 2, 3.
2 and 3.
2 and 3 and 1. Okay, so 1. Now, scalings officially is in the spleen 3 category. Okay, but who cares? We're in the spleen. Okay, let's see if it does it. Hi, how's 1?
Still there.
Okay, hold on.
It's less. And much less. 50% maybe.
Okay, hold on one second. You have here, right? Bladder. How's now?
Better. Yeah, it's so hard because all I can feel is the pain
Oh, okay.
down there.
Sorry. Is that okay? Not so much?
I don't feel it.
You don't feel it? Okay. How's the bladder?
Better.
Better. Okay. One more. How's here?
Try again. Better.
How's scaling?
No, it's still there.
No change on scaling. Hold on. There's a reason, because this, if I can call yin or yin, I can also call yin bao, which means liver 9's name is yin bao, which means the wrapping, it relates to the bladder. Okay, bao. Okay, how's now? This is better one
Yeah.
for the scalings? Okay. And what is this from?
I just bruised myself. I'm not sure how.
I'm not sure how. Oh, by the way, that was another thing. When he showed his leg, something in the flesh is that he is more of a spleen type for me. I can't quite explain it. There was something there, but anyway, where were we? We are on to these 2. 1, 2, correct? Let's try inner yin.
Yeah. That's better.
Better. Okay. Now you also had here, right?
Better.
Hold on. I'm not pressing.
It's totally better.
Just get off that point. All right. So the reason why I like inner yin is because I love mushu also, okay? But inner yin has the same effect of creating space in the body. Originally inner yin we used for trapezius pain, and we also use inner yin for constipation on the left side. But you'll be shocked how, and then we can say it's it's one of the points that releases scalenes. But it's amazing how much more it does. When you have a patient and they have pains in here and here and here, you may want to look at inner yin or liver 9 area. Okay? So, but you have kidney 10 pain, 2 pain.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, we'll start with the kidney, this organ. I use number 1 by 30. You can use serins if you want. I do the dongbang thing because it's less plastic. That's all. I don't need to open every needle and have lots of plastic around. But the reality is, serins are better needles. So,
Did they just hurt this? Or
The better needles to manipulate also. Now, my technique, I just shake the needle a little bit. That's all. If you want to look at depth, compare with the guide tube. Not much depth here, okay? There can be, but doesn't have to be. Okay. This side, I have to do kidney 7. Relax, it's okay. And spleen 7. So my spleen is behind the bone, okay? My liver is on the bone, okay? Liver channel is here on the bone.
And when you notice like the little bit of pitting edema, does that spark anything for you?
That's exactly what spleen 7 should look like. That's what it's supposed to have. So. And I prefer to go to the other side, though. It's a little difficult, so it's okay, you know. Heart 3. But I do recommend not doing what I'm doing. It's not a very good methodology to come across that way, in my personal opinion. We call pericardium 4 3 fingers below pericardium 3. So it's not your pericardium, not the TCM pericardium 4. There's a lot of 3 fingers below, like a lot of people will take, we do too. Lung 6 is here, pericardium 4 is here. Okay, it's not an uncommon situation. Like Etienne also used to take lung 6 here, not here. So 3 fingers below, that's a fairly normal. Okay, so now let's see where you're at, okay? So.
If you always with the meridian?
With the flow of the
So
meridian.
never just perpendicular?
I don't needle perpendicular anything if I can help it, or sometimes I don't have a choice. There's a sentence in the Genjo Dachan, it's a 1601 text by Yang Jitsu, that says needling perpendicular damages the upright chi. Now I don't know what it means either. It's okay, but since there's a chance that it might mean something useful or unuseful, I don't needle perpendicularly. Okay. So, hello. What's left on the bladder?
It's a tiny bit.
Okay, tiny bit. Okay. How about this still? Okay, fine. And REN 12 is an important one for you because of digestion and heartburn.
It's a little tight, but doesn't have any pain.
Okay, and this one, REN 15?
A little bit.
Okay, so still 15 and 12. How's this?
A lot better.
And you had here.
Sore.
This is still sore. Okay. How's now?
Yes.
Yes, what?
That's better.
But how much? You have to be tough.
Press
for
again.
people.
Oh, it's 80% or more.
Okay. How's 12?
Better still.
Okay.
With that much to start with, so it's hard to
Okay,
give your
and
percent.
15?
A little bit still 15.
Still some in 15. Okay, hold on. How much is here?
Still sore.
Still sore? Shit. It's okay, it's okay. It's what it is. How's now?
Much better.
Hmm?
Much better.
Much better? Okay, we'll test if that's really true. In a second. The autonomic nervous system type also tends to, they tell you one thing and then once the needle's in, it may be different. That's not unusual. Okay. How are we doing?
It's less, but still there. Much less.
Okay.
It,
And now?
I think that helps it really a lot.
You think? but
Well,
really a lot.
it hurts where you're touching.
Okay, got you. Whoops. I really didn't want to go in.
Basically, you're doing a couple of protocols at the same time.
Yes. Liver plus yin and yin plus spleen, and then let's see what happens. I just want to make sure I'm doing the right thing. You had here, right? How's now? Good? Now let's check, okay? So bladder,
Okay.
inguinal. He still had before some.
It's, do it again, please. It's much, much better.
Okay, still some, it
A
sounds
little
like.
tightness it feels, but not
Okay,
pain.
fair enough, okay. Digestive reflex,
A little bit there.
okay, so a little bit and a
And
little
it
bit.
radiates into the groin.
Okay, oh, by the way, how's liver 12 and this guy?
I don't,
How much is left?
go to, do it again.
Boom, boom.
The first one has a little bit left.
Okay, so this one has, let's do his autonomic nervous system.
Yeah, it has some.
Okay. Autonomic nervous system? What was
What did
it?
you say?
I, liver 12.
Yeah.
Remember liver 12, if you do this,
That's right.
the nervous system, it's called the hasty pulse, relates to the tailbone as well. Okay. How is here?
Just a little bit, but not much.
Just a little bit. Okay.
Definitely a little bit.
Okay. So a little bit here. Anything left on stomach in this one?
Better.
Anything left? No. Okay. Anything left here?
Yes,
Okay. So inguinal and.
I feel it radiating
this one.
towards like the side, you know?
He's begging for motion.
No, I mean, when you do it, I feel pain right,
No, I'm kidding.
I feel pain on the right side. Like, no, up higher, somewhere in there. So I'm laying here.
Okay, somewhere in here. Tell me where to go.
It's directly on the side.
Okay, up or down?
Up, down. Right around, a little bit lower. Right around there.
If I press, does it make it worse, or it's just the area?
Radiates, but it's not so sort of.
It radiates from here. Okay, hold on a second. Relax the arm. Thank you. You had here. Do you still have it?
Not as much.
Okay, hold on. And now?
Nothing.
Okay. How's the pain in the side?
It's less for sure.
How much is left? I know these are hard. It's hard for me to say how much is less. It's kind of annoying.
I think about 20% left.
20% left. Okay.
It's definitely much better.
Compare for me with immune. Because originally injury is tonsillectomy.
I think that helps it even more.
Even more. Okay, cool.
So you're doing syndrome,
No, I'm going to do immune because he said it helps it more.
but what was the
And
other
originally I did triple worm 8, but then he said, because original injury is tonsillectomy, I can do both. It's not like I can't. I'm just trying to find out what I can do. Plus, immune is best for Ren 12. How are we doing here?
What is that point?
Much better.
Much better, okay. And inguinal,
Still have some there.
still some there, hold on. Which what one?
That first point on the right below the umbilicus.
Immune, lung, digestion. He has both immune and lung, and immune and digestion. Hi. Okay. How's this one?
Much better.
Okay, and the last thing you wanted to say something? It sounded like. No.
Things are moving around inside.
Okay. Are they comfortably moving around?
Yeah, it feels
And you still have here, right?
That feels okay.
Okay, but I remember I need to do, he still has malaria, or he had malaria rather. You okay? All right, so bladder is gone? Okay, extra bladder at least is gone. How is inguinal?
Maybe 10% left, but most
Okay.
are gone.
If I can do more, I'll do more. 12,
Fine,
15.
fine.
Okay. This guy,
A little bit there,
a
yes.
little bit still here, okay. And what's going on here?
About 80%, 90% better.
Okay. And how is our friend liver 12 area?
Not so much there, but it radiates up towards the testicle.
It radiates towards the testicle. Okay. That's not pleasant?
Not totally, no. I wouldn't ask you to do it again.
Okay, we found one more. How's Chihai now?
Push it again, please. Oh, I think it's better now.
How much better?
Mostly better. 50,
I
80.
don't like people who think that it's better. Okay, good. No, it's all right. Okay. How is this?
Fine.
Fine. Yeah, I know you want an explanation for that one, don't you? Damn. Okay. It's called, okay. This one is called, okay, it's all about working with trying to push things around the center line, basically. So I have a lot of options, conceivably. By name, you have, it's, Shenting, there's Shenting and then there's the North Star.
Samshin.
Sunshine, okay. And Bladder is called the central pole.
Zongqi.
Okay, so the Zhangqi and Xiang is star.
Samshin. Yeah, Samshin.
Xing is a star. Okay, so the north, the upper star. Okay, it's the character for above. The star above is the North Star, supposedly. And this one is the central pole. It basically means the same thing. They're the same name, even though it's using totally different words. Ren 3 is called the central pole. If you're on an ocean in like the old days, okay, you need a central pole to direct you. That's the North Star. The star above is going to be, so between this one and this one, the bladder, there's a strong correlation. Does that make sense? You have other correlations. For example, you have Ren 21 is called Xuanji, which means like it's like an instrument that directs you towards North Star. So you see you have a bunch of stars along the center line. Okay, so I'm just basically playing with a canvas. Okay. Inguinal, I believe you had a little bit. And the thing is, we started really with his nervous system.
There's still ouchie there.
Is that 20?
Well, I feel more relaxed since you put that in.
Hold on. How's that?
Oh, yeah, better.
Okay. And I have other tricks. It's not that big. It's just that, we've already talked about the. See, this is the thing. I have to keep myself interested. It doesn't matter how they, as long as they somehow get better, that's all that matters. It's all that really matters is because otherwise you'll be in your clinic your whole day and you'll do the equivalent of stomach 36, except you'll call it Japanese acupuncture. Yeah. The only reason, I'm not Japanese. I don't do Japanese acupuncture. It's absurd. I've been in Japan only in the airport. It's like I'm totally not interested in Japan. No. I don't do I call Japanese acupuncture because it just to contradict like standard just to say different.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm not Japanese. How can I say I do Japanese acupuncture? I'm trying to show you, like, to find ways to, it's not so much to entertain yourself, but to keep it alive, so that we keep discovering. You know, so every patient that comes through the challenge is, can I discover something new on this person? What's the lesson with the because if you apply the same protocol, who cares if you apply stomach 36 and liver 3, or you apply, you know, Kiiko protocol number 33? It's all the same. You know, it's still protocols. The challenge is, because otherwise it's boring. I'm sorry, but it's really boring.
Yeah.
You know, same. Yeah, it's very useful when you have 4 patients an hour to, you know, yeah, I get that it's useful. I'm not against, but in teaching, my purpose is really to give you a way of thinking. Okay? Are you okay? You comfortable?
Then you pull the shirt down.
Yes.
We'll go. Thank you.
We even have a little sheet to put on you. Okay, someone else would like to get on the table?
Could you comment a little bit on
A little bit
the,
on the fast side? Yes, I can.
on the
Whatever
needle?
it is.
Can you comment a little bit on the needle placement at the union point?
Union?
It
Okay.
almost looks perpendicular to me. I'm curious if you...
How dare I do perpendicular?
Yeah, right.
Okay, it wasn't meant to be perpendicular. It's meant to go towards me. It's meant to go
Why would you
in
have a
this
lateral
angle.
placement?
That's a little, okay, what do you mean a lateral?
Well, to the
The
side.
angle, okay, so the angle on a triple warmer channel is not with or against the channel. The angle on the triple warmer channel goes this way, kind of towards small intestine heart channels. I don't know why. It just, we do that. I do that with triple warmer 8, I do that with Sanjar 5, I do that with immune.
And you see that on the triple warmer channel, or you see it
I
between
would
the
say
triple
this-
warmer? Okay, so you're
Either.
using the protocol for triple warmer.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, up here, it's hard to know, because triple warmer 10 should be here. Is it going this way? Is it going this way? I mean, for me,
So you're treating it as a triple warmer point
Yeah.
and doing it lateral?
Yeah.
Okay.
rather than a large intestine point, yes.
Okay.
Can we just in case like do a little synopsis?
Synopsis of what happened here? Yes. So we started with, he has the one very clear thing that he had malaria and he had liver damage. He had tonsillectomy. Okay? So that puts him in an immune category. It puts him in a lymph node category. The liver is not exactly a lymph node, but it's a little bit like that. So I started with liver treatment. I moved on to adding spleen 9 to that. So that was the kidney 7, spleen 7, heart 3, pericardium 4 on the right side. Because he has liver damage, he's considered liver excess, and that's the liver excess treatment that we do with liver damage. Okay, that treatment comes from, there's a phrase in the Nanjing, I believe it's chapter 72, but I won't guarantee it, that says, when it's after the chapter that talks about, do you know the Korean acupuncture business about tonify grandmother, reduce blah blah, I don't know, whatever it is. Yeah. And it says, basically it's saying when it doesn't work with the liver. He basically says that the eastern mountains cannot be conquered by the western mountains, meaning the lung is not able to overcome, the lung is supposed to be the controller of the liver, right? It's probably called my 5 elements somewhere in this thing. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, metal controls.
Okay, thank you. I'll buy into that. And it says it doesn't work. Okay, so he says in that case you should, if the liver is in excess or the eastern mountains are too strong, you should tonify the water and reduce the fire. Now what does that mean? Look at wood. Reduce the fire is reduce sun, tonify the water is reduce the mother. Okay? In other words, liver excess you treat as if it's both excess and deficient. Okay? That's this protocol. Kidney 7 is a kidney point. Spleen 7 we consider to be a spleen point that treats the kidney. Tonify the water, tonify the kidney. Reduce fire, heart 3, pericardium 4. That's how Nagano decided on this treatment for physical liver damage. Okay. Then we did, I'm still, so in the back of my mind I have lymph, liver, spleen, and as we go along I'm going, a little bit of autonomic nervous system maybe. So I'm adding spleen 9 because it's lymph. Lymph is in the spleen category. Okay? Then I'm adding immune. Now, because he still has liver 12, is the one he's complaining, I'm trying Ren 6 because Ren 6 and liver 12 are just good friends. They're both sympathetic dominant points. Ren 6, Shihai, and liver 12 have a correlation. Okay, they're both points that we treat for autonomic nervous system with rapid pulse. Okay, his pulse is not super rapid, but so I'm trying to see if Ren 6 will fix liver 12. Ren 6 doesn't. So now I'm going, okay, I've gone for Ren, but he had to pain now in Ren 6. So now I'm going, okay, so he has pain along the center line. I'm not going to do Mushu on him because he has pain close to it. Okay? It's the first time I'm seeing this person. I'm not taking chances. Okay? Second, third time you can. But you can't scare a patient away. You know, even though it's the best point for you, but you don't come back, it's useless. Okay? So I'm always having to find something else. So I'm looking for something else on the center line that will resolve Ren 6, that will hopefully also resolve liver 12. Okay? So I'm going, since he has a bladder issue, I'm going to what's going to resonate with the bladder. The upper star and the north star. The bladder is represented in the moon points as the north star. That's how they named it. I mean, you can make all sorts of assumptions about it, but you know, that's a lot of philosophy to sort of, not to understand, to make up why the bladder is the north star. Because we can't understand. You know, we're just making it up. So I'm going to the upper star. Actually, honestly, the real truth is, before I was thinking upper star, I was thinking inner courtyard, Nating. Okay, right? No,
Shenting.
Shenting, okay, sorry, no.
Nating is stomach 44.
Yeah, that's the thing, yeah, exactly. That's exactly why I had to make it, you know, be the upper star. It didn't fit. Now I remember. I was thinking, no, it's Shenting, it's not the right thing. Although Shenting may not be a bad thing, the courtyard to the Shenting, if I'm saying he's autonomic nervous system, I can do that, but then I'm moving into a whole other realm, opening a whole can of worms. So I'm changing it to the next point, which is the upper star, relates to his bladder. So that's the honest truth is, I really was thinking of do 24, not do 23. Okay? So sorry, that's just my method of thinking.
So how come you didn't go the congenital route?
Because of the bladder?
Well, yeah, because the bladder, the family history is mother and father and kidney and...
Kidney, but not bladder. I mean, they had, you know, one of them had an adrenal gland cancer, and the other one had, what was the other thing that happened? Kidney failure. I mean, they're kind of in a relationship, but I'm not sure. I can't say direct correlation between the two.
And that he was born with the bladder maybe?
Okay, so that, yes, could have been, no, I mean, I could have thought about it, and I may still look on the back. Okay, but to use kidney 16 here, yeah, I could have. I mean, I'm not saying no. See, there's no rights and wrongs in these. You know, it's always people say, why don't you use blah, blah, blah. And, you know, whatever my latest thing in my mind is. What I'm trying to say is you can do anything you like. Just make sure it works. How do I make sure it works? No. I mean, is it changed something about it? Now, he can come back next week and say, Avi, that was a fucked up treatment, totally useless. Fine, not the end of the world. It's not the first time a patient paid you $75 and didn't get results, right? You know, that's the risk that the patient takes. They come in, they either get better or they don't get better, they go shopping else. I mean, they will come a few times, maybe more. If you totally don't get, that's the whole point. Next time you don't repeat. Next time you say, how much better? 90% better in its lasting, fine, repeat. If they say 50% better, don't repeat with modification. If they say, oh, it looked good for 20 minutes and then it got all sucky, then don't repeat anything. You know, I mean, that's the whole point, is your real evaluation comes to the second treatment, not the first treatment. People charge more money for first treatment? Bullshit, you should charge more money for the second treatment. Because that's when you really start to get to know something. I mean, you spend more time on the first treatment, granted, but from the patient's perspective, they're gaining much more in the second one. They don't know it. But, so they all ask, how many treatments? Well, I don't know until they come out the second time. Because I need to see the results. Until you get some results, I can't evaluate how long it will take. Because otherwise it's all in my mind, right? I have to entertain my mind, yes, but I have to make my mind work on the patient. There has to be a correlation. Otherwise, I'm in a world of my own that does not relate to who they are, and that's useless.
So, Avi, were you attracted to the malaria point because of the history of malaria, or would you?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's the only reason to use it is to, basically it releases the diaphragm, in my opinion.
But you, so it has other applications.
So you could, if you have someone with a tight diaphragm, because we started with malaria on the left side to release the spleen, and it's very rare, especially in the West. You only have people with spleen issues generally would be car accidents. Okay, so we started with that, and both Kiiko and I separately discovered that if you use the same point on the right side, it releases the liver. Okay, and then I sort of started going, well, if it does, if it's supposed to be malaria, but it really isn't malaria, so and it does the same thing for the liver, it must mean that it releases the ribs, meaning it releases the diaphragm. Okay, but I have better ways to release the diaphragm, but it could be an extra option. To release the diaphragm, I would go against C3. I mean, not needle C3, but release C3.
And which other, you said you avoided needling at a particular point on the first visit?
Oh, no. For him, he complains about pain just below Mushu.
Yeah.
Level with Rent 4, go to the side. That's my favorite to lift people up.
So you would often.
Oh yeah, that will be one of my first choices of any needle.
But because of his tenderness, you would.
Because he complains that there's pain somewhere around there, I went, we'll leave it alone for today. It's okay.
Not really behind the trochanter.
It was behind the trochanter, but he sort of, Mushu is above the trochanter, totally above the, not really, but he sort of said that there may be pain there, so I just went, okay, there'll be other people who will show Mushu on. It's not so important. Anything else?
A general question, if you have a patient who's really immersed in needles,
what do you do?
What do you do Moxa?
So I have a student in Indonesia who says to them something like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
But he says, you'll see I have big sign. What does it say on the big sign? Picture of a needle, don't you think? Why did you come here? So, in Asia you could do all sorts of things that we can't do here. Magnets. Patients who dislike needles probably will not let you do Moxa. I mean, not direct Moxa. For me, Moxa stick is not a treatment. It's I don't know what to do with it. It's like, first of all, it stinks, I wouldn't use it, but secondly, it's not direct Moxa. They hate direct Moxa even more than needles because it jumps their nervous system. It's not useful. So magnets. Sometimes they'll let you do press tags to take home because they don't know what it is. They don't see a needle and they don't feel it, so it's fine. And then really the solution is the F3 pointer machine, which you cannot no longer get, which means you connect it to magnets and it vibrates the magnets. With that, you can use up to 8 points because you have 4 cords. Each point, so you have 8 magnets related to the 4 cords. It's very good for bone pain. It's good for certain things, but it's like for internal disorders, I would say that that's my first choice. It's always problematic with patients who don't like needles. So, what I do is I do this. But I do this with a sailor number 1. I go, you feel this? No problem, right? I mean, what else am I going to do? How do you convince them that, it's called a needle. There's no way to, a needle and a hypodermic needle are the same, or sewing needle. But this, so by the way, why do I like Dong Bang? If I don't use serins, which I don't for the most part except for the feet, which I use the dark green, the 0.02 or 0.12 by 15. Okay? Look at this needle. Okay? it's flexible, it's not just thinness. Because when they say it's 0.16 by 30, this 0.16 can vary a lot. Okay? For example, the Dongbang 0.18 by 40, which is actually truly my favorite needle, sucks big time. Okay? I used to use Sarah number 2s by 40s. And I can't with the Dongbangs because the quality is, even though, it's not the thickness, it's the flexibility that counts. You take a Chinese needle and you try and do that to it. Doesn't matter if they tell you that it's the same width, it ain't gonna do it. They're gonna be tight, they're gonna be, and that's what hurts, in my opinion. Of course, there's sharpening, how well sharpened they are and all that kind of stuff. But it's the flexibility of the needle that matters. So Dongbang is decent. Okay. I have a friend who uses Max, and they seem okay, but they're a little flimsy. So everything that I have found up to now, in comparison to Slayer needle, but only the 1 by 30s, no other size works.
Or the Dongbang.
Off the Dongbangs for me. But hey, $23 for rocks of 1,000. It doesn't get any, no other needle is cheaper that I know of. And it's a decent needle.
Bounce needles are, I think, like 19.
Well, bring one over and I'll tell you if I would personally use it. Yeah, in my opinion, you really need that. It's not just the thinness. The quality of the metal shows is it bendable? Is it, remember, a needle should be like an antenna. It should flop, in a sense. Just like, so people who wheel all the way in and it's rigid, that's not an antenna. It doesn't have, where's the chi going, quote unquote? I don't know. Anyone else?
Do you think his blood sugar will adjust from the liver ancestry?
If his what?
Blood sugar will at night?
If his liver, his his glucose levels have to do with his glycogen. If he says it's, I'm just making it up right now. If his liver, if he says it started once he had the hepatitis, which means that his blood sugar levels is probably not pancreatic related, but more liver glycogen related. That's my assumption. I could be totally wrong. That's the thing. You're always going to be, the possibility of you being wrong is always looming over you. It's true. It's like we can't be right all the time. We're not even supposed to be. It wouldn't make sense. Have you ever seen a practitioner anywhere who's right all the time? I have one of my students who goes to Kiiko, and he says, all these people are Kiiko. Can we turn that off?
I have a question about direct moxa for him. Like, did you have at any point any thoughts of using that?
Did I have at any point? Immune point will definitely be a moxa point. And I would have conceivably done under his third toe, but I haven't really tested it out. And that would probably be a moxa. And yeah, he has cold feet. And if you come over, you can see this toe, this third toe is weird.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
And cold feet for you, what do you think later?
When I touch the skin, it's cold, then therefore I would have done moxa here. She's asked me why I'm not adding moxa. Because this style, a lot of people who look at this style, they get a lot of impressions. One of the impressions is, wow, you do a lot of direct moxa, which is kind of true. But you can get away with doing absolutely none also. Okay, I'm telling, because I have lots of students all over, and lots of people don't have the time or the strength to do it. They get away without doing any moxa. Okay, it's possible. Moxa is really good in the sense that it makes the treatment last longer, in my opinion. It's really worth doing. On the other hand, it sometimes isn't what you're going to do. So it's okay. I'm not promoting moxa or non-moxa. I'm just saying, don't latch onto, okay, I can only do the style if I can do direct moxa. You can do anything, you can still get away without. Anything else? Okay, so let's take him out and turn him over and see what else we can torture him.
12:15, but it's
12:15?
okay, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so
So we're,
is the next patient coming at 1?
no, at 1:30, I
Oh.
believe, right?
Yep.
1:30, okay. So we'll go to lunch at about 12:30. It's about 12:15, I'm told. Yeah, that's the problem, there's no clock here, I don't see. Not that that would matter, because I never see the clock. With patients either, by the way. So continuation of liver is always, no matter what kind of liver, is left UV35. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Anything? No? Here?
First one.
This one. Okay, hold on. So this. Now, anything 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes. 4
4?
is the worst, but 2,
Sorry?
2, 3, 4, and 4 is the worst.
2, 3, and 4. Okay, fine. So, UB18 area, take left side UB35, not right side UB35. Left side, because again, rectal venous continuation of portal vein, it's in the left to affect the liver. Boom. High, how's now?
Fine.
Fine. Okay.
So you found the tenderness is on UB18
Yeah.
Around UB18, T7, T8, T9.
for lip.
For liver on the right side, yes. Now, UB43 is, who wanted the genetic stuff? Okay, so you had 2, 3, and 4, correct? Okay. Do 2. Hi, how's 2, 3, and 4?
Pretty much gone.
Pretty much gone. Remember, he had liver 12, relates to the tailbone. By the way, do 2 almost on everyone. Okay? And I check it. Now, this is an Aviism, so don't ask Kiiko. Kiiko, why don't you check that way? I check autonomic nervous system left side inner border of the scapula. Why? Because one of the big places where you have an autonomic nervous system, not complex, ganglia, whatever it's called, is your pacemaker. Okay? So I can check the state of the nervous system. How is this now?
Fine.
Fine. Good. All right. Now I can do other blood, the blood sugar stuff of T11, 12. Okay, so in the back we call T11, T12, we call sugar points. You'll find on almost everyone. But it's unfair because I do to T11, T12, T7, or T5 on almost everyone. So it's a little bit, and I told you that one I need to do upwards. It's a Watteau in my taste. It's a Watteau. For you, it's a little bit further out. I understand.
It wasn't tender?
Sorry?
It wasn't sensitive?
He's not saying, but I feel a little bumpy there. A little like extra tissue on the bone. Okay. Do you see how kyphotic he is here? Okay. Any pain? Discomfort? Something? Hmm? Quicker, they want to go to lunch.
Do it again, please.
1, 2, 3,
Right there,
4. This one? Okay, cool. So let me go to the other lymph area, which is under the scapular spine. So underneath small intestine 12, and press.
Yeah.
Oh, it's sore?
Just a little bit.
Okay, hold on one second. How's the spine now?
Better.
Okay, but this is sore.
A little bit.
Okay, fine. Now.
Better.
Okay, that sore is better. Okay. So I'm going to the other. Okay, I just need to make sure. This is sore, right? Right?
Yeah.
Sore?
Yeah.
Yeah. And better?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to the other place of so-called wind points to release it first, and then I'll do the lymph node points. It's sort of gallbladder 20th. I happen to like the area under the occipital bone a lot. And I like, rather than just do 16, which would be your one option, I tend to use more to the side. Again, this idea of coming from the side to lift rather than coming from the center. Okay, so this is okay now?
Yes.
Okay, and now, the back, the L5, the T,
Still sore on that?
wait, T5 is sore. Okay, and when I press lymph, it is still sore?
Yes, it's still sore.
Ah, it did it before, now it doesn't. Okay, hold on. How about now?
Still a little sore. That helps it more. That helps it more.
Helps it more? How much is left?
30%.
30%, okay, hold on. So this would be a Moxa point, for example. So I'm needling up towards the scapular spine.
Are you pressing Jaji or? this-
Yes. I'm more interested in the Watos. Kiiko tends to like the do more. It's just style. Okay, how much is left? 30%?
Less than that. No,
Okay.
Mostly gone.
Mostly gone? Okay, hold on. And now,
It's better.
how much is left?
No.
Okay. Pillar of the body, do 12. Let's do the same thing on the other side. Anything 1, 2, 3, 4.
I think the first one.
The first one, okay. How's now?
Better.
How much better?
I don't feel much at all.
Okay, there is absolutely no protocol that says that below small intestine 12 fixes T5, okay, or T7. Absolutely none. It's only about him. He has a lymph issue. Do you see what I'm saying? So, it's not use this for this as much as who is this person? He's a vibrating person. And you can do 2 or 3 needles on small intestine 11, just so that you're aware. So notice that do 12, I have no problem doing, don't do what I do with 2 hands. It's not a very pretty thing. This I'm doing towards the spine. I could have done it upwards also, but this I'm very clearly doing upwards.
Basically, you're saying do 12, but you're actually doing the whole 12 around.
Yes. It's the same thing for me. Does anybody have a lighter? Good. Thank you.
And do 12 because it's an immune point, right?
Yes, it's part of the immune system. It's called the pillar of the body. Thank you so much.
Is it originally the thymus gland point? The thymus
I
point?
believe so. I believe it is thymus originally. So you can see that I'm way, if this is on the do, you can see that I'm way outside the Watos, because if it's supposed to be Hafetsun, come on, I'm clearly not at Hafetsun. The reason I added this side is because I don't want to lift him one side and, then he'll come up with a neck like this. So it wasn't necessary in terms of findings. I'm just balancing it. I'm just wanting to make sure, that I'm not creating, this one was necessary to release this one. This one was not necessary because this wasn't painful. So those of you who've not done direct moxa before, this is the really expensive stuff. I think OMS sells it for over, like $130, $140 for 100 grams. Very light with your hands. And because you don't want to introduce any of your oils into the moxa. You can get just as good moxa, actually even better, from some place in Japan. You went on your trip, you probably met the guy that, did you do a visit to some moxa place?
No.
Oh, okay. The second trip apparently did. And it's like $80 for 100 grams, including the shipping from Japan. So notice I'm not that interested in doing tiny moxa. Some people like it teeny, blah, blah. Because if it's too big, no problem. And Kiiko does this all the time. This is small enough, but you can just smash it in the middle. What's the problem? So my sense of aesthetics with this is not as high as some people who like it thin and long and blah, blah, blah. But in order to do that, they start squishing the moxa. So in my opinion, it gets burned. Whatever it will look like, it will look like ashes afterwards. You know, it's just not worth the aesthetics, so to speak. But a fair amount of people will say that this is a little bit too big. So I just smash it and light it again. No problem. See, some people want it like this. Okay? But it's hard to get that tiny and still fluffy. The moxa has to be fluffy. Otherwise it burns too strongly. And you have to keep cleaning your hands, because otherwise you're introducing, you know, either shionko or your own sweat and oil into the moxa, and then it burns too strongly. And you kind of have to keep blowing on the incense stick. I like the thin ones. Most people claim that they like the thicker ones better. Up to you. No, this is a huge one. So no problem. Just take it, you know. So the reason why people don't like this is it takes time. So you have to decide, do you want to spend the time? Do you want to get an assistant? What do you want to do with it? I personally don't like assistants, so it doesn't work well for me. But most of the people who do this style, you know, like, then see lots of people like, say, talk, you know, they're going to have assistants, and they're going to have lots of them. You know, Kiiko often works, she sometimes works alone, but she often works with 3 or 4 people, well, not 3 or 4, but 2, or even 3 people at the same time.
This moxa seems to be burning out on its own, which
yes, it
I'm
can.
used to.
No, it can, but if it's too big, then smash it out. No, it should burn out on its own, but you know, because I don't like making teeny, and neither does Kiiko, as I said. Then we just smash it and deprive it of oxygen, and then you can afford to be a little less meticulous. Because the other thing what people do is they take wooden blocks and roll it between the wooden blocks. To me, that's like to make it very thin without any sweat, but it's still compact if you condense it between the wooden blocks. Okay. All right. This is a very quiet class. What's going on? All right. So we could have given him another 5 minutes, but okay. So Brian, let's have you hold on a second. Let's get the ashes off you. Okay, so let's see how your toe is and the things that are easy to assess. Because the digestion is hard to assess, presumably. Let's sit down if you want. Walk around, you know, how's your toe, how's the hip?
I still feel a little tightness in here.
You do.
A little here, but in general, I feel more upright. I just feel better.
You feel still tightness? Okay, that's the left side, and then you said something on the right side, you feel better?
So through here.
Okay, fine. Relax. Relax.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Okay, how's now?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, what?
I feel better into here.
Okay, how much is left?
I don't feel any right now.
And the left side?
It feels better there too.
Okay,
You didn't give
fine.
me 6?
No, stomach 41. So I do a lot of at the end, for people, I will do this, okay, what's left? And try and, whoops, I need a press tack. And I'll leave it press tack for them. Because stomach 41 is the axis on which you stand, basically. Now, I still use the Dongbang press tacks. I do not like, actually, the truth is, I don't like the pionex still. And the reason why, yes, if you're doing them in a very sensitive spot, like under the foot, I leave pionex on the joint points, for example. Nobody else does, but I do. You wear socks, they don't feel it. But everywhere else, I prefer this because the pionex, they crumble all over the place. They fall on the floor, it's like, and then you lost the needle. You can't use it once it was on the, because the whole wrapping of the pionex is horrible. It used to be that the tape was too strong and you couldn't flip it. So they fixed it by doing a lot more wrapping. So now there's so much wrapping, by the time I get the damn needle out, that's half the time it's on the floor, by the time I'm finished with it. Relax the foot. Bend this knee a little bit. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Walk around and tell me how it feels now. I'll put extra tape. So I use the Dongbang, or the CW, whatever it's called. For the
It's
person.
just so much better in here.
So much better.
A little tightness down here.
Okay, you have another stomach 41 to play with. Okay, relax. I'm going with you. If you need to lift the foot out, I'm with you. You don't have to leave the foot on the floor if you want. How's that?
Better?
Okay. So never underestimate the power of stomach 41. No, I mean seriously, it's a fabulous, fabulous, fabulous point. And I'm just going to give you some more tape. So hold on. If I can find one that will open for me. The problem with these press tacks is the tape isn't very good, but that's the advantage because you can flip it. And then it leaves you fingers so it doesn't hurt. The problem with the old pionex ones was that the tape was so strong that when you flipped it, it stayed attached to your finger, and then it was really painful. Because the whole point is to flip it. So now they put a tape that you don't have to flip. So tomorrow when I ask you how it is, don't tell us that it's great.
Don't what?
Tomorrow when I ask you how it is, don't tell us great, because then we'll think you're lying. All right, any questions before we go for lunch?
How long do you have them leave? How long do you have them
3 days if they can. Take a shower, do whatever. If it falls in the shower, fine. If it stays, for as long as it's willing to stay. If water or soap or whatever gets in there and it itches, you don't like it, take it off. It's not going to kill it.
Feels good.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. So this is the